All right, welcome back to the 80 Star Basketball Channel, the only star basketball channel talking about kind of a bunch of stuff today. I got a couple of random topics, small. I want to do some follow up with the bags. I talked to Steve Taft for a long time. We actually talked for about an hour. It was really cool. Just kind of caught up and talked about some little things, some big things, little things. Just kind of chatted. It was a great talk with Steve. And then I went to a card show yesterday and I picked up actually some shop at home cards. They've gotten a little hot and I've been buying them. I think they're a great story. But again, I kind of put this picture up. This seems to have eclipsed. This card right here seems to have eclipsed what I've seen them sell for, and I didn't know if it was any special for any reason. I'm trying to gather some info, and I'm going to do a shop at home network. The cards for the Jordans and Star here shortly, but I want to gather as much information as I can. Definitely a unique story, but I still hate the fact that they list it as 1984. I don't know if this is to get past eBay's authentication because eBay might, if it's past a certain amount, they just have to verify that it's 85. But this just seems this rookie stuff. It's all I hate that they do this. It's deceitful. This is 1997 cards. These aren't 1984, but they have an incredible story and they have a low print run. Some people, they're not counterfeit. They're kind of more close to just like fraud cards, but they definitely have a story, that's for sure. But they're a low print run and they're now kind of getting sought out. But anyway, so I picked up. I'm kind of interested in these just because I like rare items. And a couple of people I did want to shout out. A couple of people that I met yesterday. One person who does have his own channel, Jess Man. So shout out to you, Jess Man. It was great talking to you. He loves rare cards and Jordan and 90s and 80s. So mainly focused on the 90s, and he kind of talks about what he likes. So go ahead and check out his channel. And then I did talk to Talent Sports Cards. He was there, and it was a great talk. I kind of asked him about what he thinks the rookie card, and he kind of was like, I think the Star is the true rookie, but I kind of see the other side's point because he grew up, knowing that the 86 Fleer, was always called the rookie. So he kind of has that, that nostalgia thing that goes with that, but he kind of gets it. He's like, I get it. Kind of leans more on the Star, but he said he's going to actually do a video clip with me and him talking because I asked him on the channel. So that's cool. So I'm looking forward to being on that and seeing. So I'm going to talk about this. I am going to come back to the DGA follow up on the bags, talking about the bags. But I did really quick also have. I'm looking at auctions, and I always like to give my takes. Tony covers auctions, does a great job. But I did want to talk about my takes. There's a really nice. I'll get there in a second, but there's a 7.5 on Fanatics that's up for auction. eBay still has nothing. This is the longest time I've been doing the channel, and with eBay having no auctions. I think it's 3 weeks. There was like one authentic, but no graded cards, none that I've seen. There's been some buy it nows, or there's really been nothing on eBay for a while now, and I've never seen this dry spell. So, I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing prices kind of eclipse. We'll see what happens. But check this one out on, sorry, not on alt, on PWCC. This BGS 7.5. It is gorgeous. It is gorgeous. Other than centering, this is like 7 material right here. And by centering, I mean the side is too thin, I think, for this to qualify as anything higher than a PSA 6. However, it is rock solid. So if you take a look at the card, it definitely shows very, very nice. But also, there's 2 on Heritage. There's a PSA 6 at 28,000. I believe there's another BGS 7.5 at 20,000. So there's only 4 auctions, but oddly enough, the big kid eBay has 0, and it's been dry forever. So this is really seeing the supply, especially eBay, just gone. So we'll see what happens kind of as we go on. But so that's the auctions. I did talk to Steve Taft, a great conversation, and he has a little bit more information that I wanted to share on the, and he calls it that it's probably pronounced Coke. And the Sidney Moncrief Coke Sports, the one that I said is the most unique star card easily, and he kind of agrees with that. And I didn't ask him if it's the rarest. I believe but he started implying to the scarcity of it. So we just kind of talked, and he wanted to talk about this card, and we did talk about the scarcity of it. He's only had five. So, and he said he's not, aware of any in the auction in the '90s. Higby doesn't seem to have any. Krosner and Shonka would have it if anyone was gonna have it, kind of thing. But what he thinks happened here, he actually thinks that this was called. He thinks it's pronounced Coke. It could be Koch. I called it Koch, but it could be Coke. Was a sporting goods store that was there for a little while. So he thinks it was a promotion with a sporting goods store called Coke Sporting Goods. And that he said most likely it was distributed the year after, but it was only given to them. And it was for like a giveaways at a promotion. So he said they probably gave away a couple hundred or something like that. And then the rest went in the trash, kind of thing. And he's thinking, people getting a card at a sporting goods store and probably trash. So he thinks that obviously a very, very kind of a non-distribution kind of a promo giveaway at a very different, not a sports card event, but a sporting goods store. But that's what he actually thinks happened. So that's good information to have from Steve. And he also called me out of my Bob Lanier. He said it's not Lanier, it's Lanier. So Bob Lanier. So I was killing Steve with every pronunciation. Also, he did say Sidney Moncrief just wasn't a good player. I think I called him. He said he was a great player, like absolutely phenomenal. So, and definitely the All-Star nods. And I guess he had some knee injuries, kind of later on. But so I wanted to pass this on. I love the card because this is obviously it's the most unique and judging by most people, kind of agreeing is, I'm going to say star experts, but most of the star community kind of really calls this out as being the rarest of all star cards, and definitely not a standard distribution, no bags. It was just, it kind of stands by itself. So just a very, very cool item. And I love the rare stuff. So going back onto bags, and I talked to a bunch of you. So I had a bunch of you. I did actually add on to, they do Dynamic Grading Authority. I talked about them last week. They're going to start grading star bags. So, and they have been actually for a little bit, but I had basically a community member, a star expert, basically who has a very nice collection, but and someone who I trust actually put these out and said, hey, he wanted to test them out and see, because they've been grading star bags and some people have been using them. And he basically came back and said, no, this is legit. They grade very, very hard. And I definitely got a skepticism and some, people saying, well, we got to see what they know. And right. So I reached out to the owner, so Blaine, and he's very, very cool. And so he's going to, he's going to come on and do an interview. So we're going to follow up with some questions on, what he knows about star bags in particular, but he's lining up something very special for star grading. And if you think about it, and actually I saw some posts that a lot of people who use them, are very, very happy because they're tough. It's not like, it's not like BCCG, kind of thing where they just pass everything. But bags are multidimensional. You have the bag, and then you have the top card, and you have the back card. And maybe for like a 101 bag, the top card is the only thing that matters. So if the undercard is damaged and the whole bag gets a 2, it doesn't matter. It's how the Jordan is that everyone cares about. And if that seal is, if it's all legit and everything. So, bags are so multidimensional and hard but the thing that they have that's really, really cool that I keep pointing to people, because people who kind of did also, who kind of pushed back, they didn't check out the video, they didn't watch this, and they didn't see the main thing is this report card. This is what I'm excited about. The fact that you get detailed information. Here's why you got the grade. Here is the problem. And I showed that in the video last week. That's actually what I would say is the overall grade is pretty much worthless in a way. What is of value is this. You want the information of someone who is a tough grader and looking at it. And this is for like online transacting. So, in case PSA, and it is possible, PSA has obviously this on the, as far as bags, it's obviously stuck or on the back burner or something. So I don't know what the hang up is, and I'm obviously hoping they get past it, but for now, there is a possibility that they won't. I don't know. I'd like to think so. And I also kind of heard people mentioning that Mike Baker was going to be grading bags, and I think he might, probably would start doing star first and then bags, kind of thing, or something. Hopefully, or bags. I don't know, but that until that happens, and I don't know if and when that's going to happen. It might be a little while. I don't want to say that it's all for sure. This would be the only thing that's out there. And for doing, like, if you're going to buy a bag, I would much rather go with someone who I know is, writing these things out so I can see information on the bag. If I'm going to be purchasing online, it's very, very helpful. So that's my take on it all. But it's kind of I trust who has been endorsing this, but I also want to verify. So, and, so far I'm seeing positives, and that's basically, if I was seeing negatives, I wouldn't even mention this. It wasn't something that, anyone can't just pick up and grade and pass a grade. And you're thinking, oh, it's an 8, the bag is an 8. No, it's way tougher than that. But the STAR community is aware, and I think this is a good step in the right direction. So I'm looking forward to that interview, and it'll be great to talk. And again, Blaine seems really, really cool. So I'm looking forward to that. So again, kind of a hodgepodge of information today. I recognize that, kind of just little pieces. I'm hoping if I'm able to interview with him next week, and I'll get a video out on Sunday on that one. And then, that's definitely get some more information on bags. And I will see you then in the next video.